Severance is the most creative show from Apple so far. The idea of employees separating their brain into two, also known as innie and outie, makes the concept one to watch. Severance is making it my favorite show of the year so far. We're breaking down the ending of Severance and how it set up season 2. As it is confirmed that Severance season 2 request has been accepted, it's that you will feel like you never left Severance season 2. So it's just been renewed, so I cannot wait for season 2 as this season ended up in an incredible way. As I think I did a week by week breakdown, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it in this video. So a sinister biotech corporation, Lumen Industries, used a severance medical procedure to separate the non-work memories of some of their employees from their work memories. One severed employee, Mark, gradually uncovers the web of conspiracy from both sides of the division. Now, in the first season, we followed these employees in this company, and the employees work in the Maker Data Refinement Division, aka MDR. Now, we have to note that it's not really explained what they do in the company. I have my theories on what they do, so I'll go ahead and talk about that in a moment. Throughout the season, we're introduced to a few employees, and we get more answers of the history of Lumen. One of the employees, Helly, is one that doesn't want to work for Lumen, but her outie does. Why is revealed in this episode, making the reveal a big twist. There's a big focus on the second episode of the season as Helly tries to escape by explaining her outie a note of resignation, which he declines.
Your resignation request is denied.
This prompts her to hurt herself, and we discover the weird perpetuity wing, which documents the history of Lumen's founder, Kier Egan, as well as James Egan, which is the current CEO. In episode 8, we're taken back to this location, and that scene is just uncomfortable. That's why in episode 1, he really wanted that waffle party.
Get passed over for Refiner of the Quarter and miss out on my goddamn waffle party. Miss out on my goddamn waffle party.
These perks are so out of hand.
Now, there's a huge controversy in the company as one of the employees, Petey.
My name's Petey. I'm from work.
I was trying to expose the company and what do they do and the secret behind it. There's no big secret right now, but going into this episode, we get more on what Lumen does and how they handle things. So the big one of this character of Petey was to try to help Mark as they were trying to uncover secrets. Going into this episode, we can see that this is not the first time they try to expose the company, and it has happened in the past. Coming from the last episode, the team had a plan to turn the chip outside the office. One of them has to stay behind, and this is the character, of course, of Dylan, and he had to do this for everyone else. They started to discover who they are outside the company, and this was huge, particular in the character of Irving as well as the character of Helly. And these two characters provide more information about the secrets of the company. So where we see, so Mark wakes up in the book reading of his brothers-in-law book. This book was a wake-up call for the innies, and it was like they started reading it throughout the episode, so it was nice to see a reading of this book that in a way was like a wake-up call for them to be themselves and care about who they are in the outside and in the inside of the company. So this was a huge switch for the characters. Now Mark has been the one that has been looking into what Lumen does outside of the office with his outie, and he discovers with the character of Petey. There was no big secret about who the character of Petey was and what they were trying to do, except just looking into the company. But Mark, as we know, has suffered from the loss of his wife, who we discover also works at Lumen in the wellness department and now go by Mrs. Casey. This was a huge, of course, twist in the last episodes. Now Mark outie thinks his wife died, but as we get to see she has been alive all this time. Why did Lumen did this is something we're going to see in season 2, and specifically why it was the wife of Mark. That's something that I thought, in my opinion, was like, hey, the ship works and two characters that know each other don't remember each other. So that's why I think Mrs. Casey was as well there, as when they walk to past each other, they don't remember who they are. So this was, in my opinion, why it was so important in this scene. To know what Lumen does. And the big thing, the big issue this episode was that Mark accidentally tells Mrs. Selvig her name, her work name, which is Mrs. Covell, and this what creates a cause and effect. She was fired after not protecting the daughter of the CEO, which was her role in a way. And she also took a participant role in the life of, of Mark's sister. What is important about this is that we discovered that the ship that Lumen uses also worked in the outside. This is why we see one of the characters that as well is really important, because his husband is a politician, and I believe that they can use the ship outside, and this is why she doesn't remember in this particular scene. They don't remember each other because the ship works outside.
Explosion.
So this is why I believe is the big part of the show, is that they want to grow the company outside. And I will go ahead and talk about my theories in a moment. But what happened is, of course, that Mrs. Cowell noticed that Mark tells her real name, and this was like a big change of pace in the episode. Now, going into Irving, which is my most important character in this episode, Irving was the one that really gave us information. It appears that it's not the first time they start to look into the company, as the character has maps of where all of them live, and his Audi draws the same floor over and over again. What I understand by this scene is that this is not the first time that they're rebooted. In a way, their memories are wiped and start fresh. This could mean that other characters already tried to escape before, and Irving Audi remembers some details of this. Maybe his memories were deleted, and this is what Lumen does, just delete memories from the characters, from people in the world, as I will go ahead and connect this theory more in a moment. But what I don't understand why the character has all this information. Was he looking into the employees and then forgets these memories and enter the company as a way to get revenge for the death of his son? He has a picture of a character that says dad, so this could be why. There's a lot of theories and it's not really explained, but this is my theory for now. Like, he has a list of newspaper about the things that happen in the company. He has a several list employee with information of them, including his own name. He has logistic as well as paper of Lumen, and the newspaper reads the following. This is going to be important in the next season. It says, "Today marks the first of many long days in court for what is sure to be one of the region's more contentious civil trials in recent memory. The plaintiff, Dalton Emery, is suing his former employer, Lumen, in an attempt to get his former employer to divulge the accurate details pertaining to an injury that occurred while he was severed and on company property. Emery claims that when he passed the Severance threshold on his way home from a day at work, his left hand began to throb violently. By the time he arrived at his car, the throbbing morphed into sharp shooting pain." And now, what I believe is happening is that the character of this, they're talking about here, Dalton Emery, which I believe is going to be in the next season, worked with Irvin, and they were trying to discover more about what they do in Lumen. So that's why this character Irvin is drawing that floor. As we know, Mrs. Casey was sent to that floor as well. So what I believe is that their memories are wiped and they start fresh as a new employer, but still the same person. Are the memories of inside, like the innie, are deleted and the outie are kept the same? That's a big thing that there's so many theories, in my opinion, that it just makes the show absolutely incredible. We already saw this with the character of Mark when he hurt himself in episode 1, and when he goes to his car, he receives a letter explaining the events of what happened. And as we know, he says, while carrying boxes in a room today, you slip on a overhead projector slide and sustain a minor blow to the temple. As we know, this was not what happened in the episode, so disconnect on how Lumen lies. So it's important to note this. I believe we're going to see more of this in the next season. It even says that he tried to make contact, but why he did this and how he uncovered all this information is something that I want to see in season 2. But the important thing about this is that Irving developed a relationship with another employee, Bert, throughout the series. And in the end, he wants to visit him, even though Bert is not going to remember him. He's going to be like, who you are and what are you, going into my door. Now, the big one, of course, is Helly. Her Audi is the daughter of the current CEO, and makes sense why she was not allowed to quit. This, of course, is part of the plan to make the procedure global, which made me think that this is what they do in the company. Her Audi believes in Lumen and the value of Severance, as we get information from her dad, who is James Egan, the current CEO, which is just like, wow. All of us had like a theory that she was connected to the company in a way, and this is why. Now, Lumen's mission is, from what I'm understanding, is to have the ship to everyone in the world, and having the daughter of the CEO go through the procedure allows the ship to be sold to people outside the company. So it appears the ship is a new product. But what was Lumen doing before that? As we can see, James explained that, hey, I remember when I brought you the first prototype. So this is, in my opinion, that Lumen was doing something before. What it was, I want more information. So in episode 3, actually, we see this as they hinted as she starts looking at him. And this is why. So Haley's doing a speech on the procedure and her experience by doing this. And of course, this is when she says something completely different, as she says that they're not happy and all that. They're like in a trap. They feel like they're trapped. And she says the different things that this is why it's so important. And at that moment, she's taken away from the stage. At the end of the episode, we see Dylan is in the control room, and I believe all of them will be reprogrammed again, setting everyone as a new host or a new Eni. So that's my theory for now. We also see Irving Eni trying to enter Burt house, which will be awkward as well as Mark screaming that his wife is not dead. This was huge, and I really want to see what's going to happen with this. Now, this is a conversation that his sister has him explaining what happened to Mark and what happened to his wife. This is when Mark sees a picture of his ex-wife, well, his Audi wife, that is actually Miss Casey. So this was huge. Now the show ends with Dylan being jumped at by Milkshake, contact by Mrs. Cobell, and everyone starts to wake up. Their Enies turn off, so their Audi are now in control. So this will be huge when the Audi wakes up and her sister says, hey, this is what happened. So I cannot wait for that. And of course, the show is absolutely incredible. I think Apple has to do more show like this, as people are interested in the suspense and the questions week by week. I found myself loving the way the story starts to develop and the twists it has week by week as well. And what I love about the show is the way it takes us in the journey of this company and its weird employees. So what are your theories for season 2? Leave your comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Christian from Beyond Premiere, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.